Welcome back. My name is Kit.
My name's Madison.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things. Today, if you can't tell, we're covering Jurassic World.
What?
What? Wait a
Jurassic
minute.
Park. I'm just kidding.
I watched the wrong movie.
Jurassic Park, the seminal 1993 classic. Because people made us. It's a demand that was made from one of our beloved patrons.
Alan Tomlinson.
Did they
Shout
know
out.
this was in your bloodstream? This movie?
That's why they picked it. Actually, I'm sorry. For the audio listeners, I'm wearing a dinosaur mask.
He
It's
is.
very restrictive
He
on
is.
my face.
Yeah.
Because it's made for children, so I'm taking it off.
Hello, Clarice. That's what it sounded like.
Oh my God, life found a way, you guys.
It did.
Here you
Life,
are.
finds a way. That's what we heard.
And then creates man.
Finds a way.
Yes, I think Steve just watches this every week anyway, so he just threw it into his rotation. And
You're
here
just
we
listening
are.
to the audio.
Yeah, basically
this point.
my life did not change a single bit this week. I was like, oh, well, that's Tuesday for me. Jurassic Park?
Yeah. And listeners won't be able to know also that Madison
Hello.
is crinkling in a leather coat dressed
I
as
am Mr. Jeff Goldblum.
Mr. Goldblum himself.
Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Ian Malcolm.
Our favorite chaotician.
Or as you guys put it, my everyday attire.
Yeah. I was like, I thought you were dressing up.
Yeah.
What was the phrase you guys said in text? You were saying like,
Oh, I said fair warning for the raw sex appeal that's about to enter the studio.
She wasn't lying. I instantly got pregnant when I walked in.
yeah,
Yep.
he did.
That was my goal.
I was like, oh my God.
He was like, oh
Always
man,
looking for the next ex Mrs.
X Malcolm.
Thanks, mister. I, audio listeners, am dressed like a schlub.
just normal everyday Chris.
I woke
Just-
up 45 minutes ago, did not shower, and
I can
looked around
tell.
the room, grabbed some things, including Crocs.
You dressed up as the that's a big pile of shit.
The Triceratops.
That
shit.
is one big pile of shit.
Oh, man. That has got to stay on the board.
Yep.
That needs to stay.
For movies that we review we don't like. That'll be the entire episode.
I have a lot of stuff on the board today. I'm just warning you guys.
I bet you're having a good time, and I love that for you.
I bet they've been there for a minute.
And not in the way
It's
that Gen Z means it. Like, sincerely, I love that for
Thank you. It's kind of wild that back to back. So last week we did Inglourious Bastards,
Yeah.
which Kit, you have said is your favorite movie.
Yeah.
And this week we're doing Jurassic Park, which the older I get, the more comfortable I am in saying Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time.
Both are awesome.
Yeah.
Love Inglourious Bastards.
What a great couple weeks.
You know what we
Everyone
gotta
else that
do?
suggests movies, what are you doing?
Next week, we got to clear the schedule from whatever's planned and review Madison's favorite movie.
Oh.
Which is some obscure pirate porn, I'm sure. Arr.
It's
That would
rated.
be-
It's rated R.
Radar. Yeah, I don't know what I would have to sit on that, simmer and think about that.
The pirate porn?
The pirate porn, yeah.
Just think about it.
I have a lot in mind right
Just
now.
sit on that simmer, baby.
Yeah.
There's so
There's
many
Walk
good
the
ones.
Plank. There's Hook Me. I don't know. So many to choose from.
Hook me.
Hook me. You hooked me. That's what it's called.
Okay, I liked you hooked me better than hook me.
Hook me, daddy.
I'm a very simple-minded. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll think. It's like getting a tattoo, picking your favorite movie. You just got to
Yeah.
kind of go for it. There's too many options. At a certain point, it becomes ridiculous mathematically. And so you just, A Knight's Tale
Yeah.
is what Steve's going through right now, where he's like, I'm old enough to realize it's really Jurassic Park. It really is A Knight's Tale for me. It just doesn't sound cool.
I think
it's
that sounds cool.
Well, I appreciate that.
I love A Knight's Tale.
But for, Inglourious Bastards is top 10 easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
I would say my equivalent is probably Django Unchained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely up there. It's on my top 4 for Letterboxd.
I love a Django.
Yeah, Django
Yeah.
and Chain's fun.
Yeah. If it's on the LBXD.
Oh, yeah. It's serious.
Everyone loves LBXD.
I just made that. It sounded really cool.
It does.
Like sometimes you go for things and they don't pan out. That did.
Oh, well.
LBXD. Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
In the total Gen Z way, I love that for you.
I love that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to start saying that to people.
We forgot something really important last week, and I'm sure everybody's upset and they've been unable to sleep the entire time.
But it didn't make sense for us to announce it then.
That's retroactively, we can say that, but ultimately we both forgot.
Hey, man, don't pull the curtain back and reveal Oz. All right, come on.
No, I don't lie to our listeners. We forgot to announce the winner of the fantasy character draft. And it is, in fact, I would say an upset.
Oh, I don't think that at all, sir.
Madison is the winner.
Yeah.
She put together the best fantasy character
Your trophy.
team. Your
My
trophy
trophy.
is a Barbasol can filled with dino DNA.
Dino DNA.
DNA.
Now, I'm not going to say anything that a sore loser would say. I'm just going to say
I think you've
congratulations.
I think you've already
Thank
crossed
you.
that
No,
by saying,
have.
I think an upset.
I'm just a nuanced, unbiased reporter on events.
Okay.
And looking at the polls and predictions early on in the game.
I think honestly, I was just going for my dream smoke circle, and I feel like it resonated with the audience.
Can I just point out,
fit.
though?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything that a sore loser would say.
Okay.
However, I did predict this in the episode. Let's play it back, Steve. I didn't send you the clip.
Oh, okay.
There is a moment where I say, I bet this time, now that I've pivoted to just picking the most powerful team I possibly can, the winner will be based on the coolest characters, which is what I thought the game was the first time I lost, and I lost to the more powerful characters. And that is exactly what happened.
Well,
Because in no universe, Dumbledore by himself would single-handedly wipe out both of your teams. And so it must,
I don't know.
I get she
I don't
had
know if that's
Hellboy,
true.
she had
I don't
Celine.
know.
I don't know if that's true. Dumbledore
Who takes out Dumbledore, Steve? Walk me through this.
single-handedly couldn't find his own wand, all right? You know? I mean, he had to get children to fight his battles for him, so I'm just saying.
He's trying to let them grow. He's trying to train them, bro.
That's why you should have made him the mentor.
If he ever gets involved, have you ever seen the shitty ones, the Fantastic Beast ones?
Now, I will give you Gandalf could possibly, because Gandalf is
That's
a
what I'm saying.
demigod.
Once you throw Gandalf in, and then I had people messaging me like, "Oh man, I was going to vote for you, but you had the bunny." What the fuck does the bunny have to do with anything? First off, deadly creature. Second off, it's OP already. I just threw a bunny in to just
Rabbit's dynamite.
to just
Well,
lighten things up a bit.
Chris, let me say, when I shared prior to the winners being announced, I shared all of our draft picks with my close friends. And to my surprise, honestly, not surprising, they all drifted to your guys' draft picks versus mine. So
As they
you
should.
can understand that my friends did not choose mine. So I'm living in the blind victory that is.
I think it was
the
well
winner.
earned, Madison. I mean, you
Oh,
got the
well, thank
Weasleys, you
you.
got Wonder Woman, you got Daemon Targaryen, Toothless. I think you won a lot of hearts and minds with that Toothless pick, honestly.
Okay. All
'Cause
right.
I saw a lot of people mention Toothless specifically,
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I love him. I learned a valuable lesson and that is to always go with my heart, not my brain, because I got some people messaging me like, bro, you went with Vagar, not your big red noodly boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you were on the fence about
You
it.
would have got
though.
sympathy points for having the noodly boy
If
for sure.
if I went with my big red noodly boy Caraxes, I think I would have gotten a couple more points.
All right.
You got to think with your big red noodle.
I do. I mean, Madison was thinking with Hellboy's big red noodle.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Hey, I got a message like as soon as the poll went live from a dear friend of the show, Sydney Volpe. I hope
Oh,
she doesn't
Sydney.
mind if I share this. And that's when I knew I was cooked. She said, I have to choose Madison, I fear. But the rabbit of Carabanog just made me so happy. And I said, I'm so stunned at Madison's early lead. They let me get Dumbledore and Gandalf. I was laughing maniacally at my swift victory. And she said, that is OP. And you have Yennefer. Just fully acknowledging the lack of any chance you guys have whatsoever in a battle. Then she said, but she has Hellboy, Wonder Woman, and Brienne, a trifecta I was influenced by.
All right.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's going to happen a lot because those are beloved characters.
Yeah, Madison's
They are,
team
in
is
fact,
strong.
voting for cool points. As I feared, I am cooked.
But we can all agree I lost.
All I can say is
We can all agree.
Yeah, we can all agree I
all I
lost.
can say is do better.
Yeah. I apparently, so the third draft, I'm not going to know what tactic to use.
Hey, while you guys
Just
are out,
wing it.
while you guys are out fighting for domination of first and second place, I'm gonna hang back and fuck Geralt of Rivia. All right. So
I love that for you.
In
where's-
which way do you mean that?
The best way.
Which generate the
the
millennial
good
way?
way.
Or
The good
okay.
way.
You can email the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. Go to patreon.com/streamingthings at any time to check out some extra bonus content. Subscribe at a variety of tiers for access to that. You can even have access to our Discord at a certain tier. Last night we did a little Steve's Fireside Chat without Steve, so I had to rename it. It took me way too long to realize it was obviously going to be named Kit's Fireside Chat. It was embarrassing.
Oh, for a second I thought like, oh, what cool, clever name did you come up with?
No, I was like, what should we call it? What should we call it? There's a low-hanging fruit here somewhere where we just hang out for an hour or two. But there's also bonus episodes. Like you can vote in polls. Can we announce the winner of the October movie poll that we're doing next week now?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we had Vote to be Terrified, right? We had Werewolves Within, which is just funny.
Yeah.
The Empty Man, which is a movie I've actually never seen, but people love. It's supposed to be underrated. The Descent, a movie I believe to be the scariest movie of all time. And Hereditary. Everybody knows what that is. Hereditary won with 47%, despite protestations from many of the patrons saying, please don't make me watch that again. I would like to sleep in November. So I don't think that's a movie that's that scary from my recollection. It's just very, very good, but I'm excited to revisit it. Yeah, please don't make me watch Hereditary again with 3 likes as the first comment.
I'd only seen, out of all 4 of those movies, I've only seen The Descent. So I'm excited to watch one that I've not seen.
Oh, I'm
Have
so
you not
excited to
seen-
watch Hereditary with you.
You've not seen Hereditary?
No.
Wow. Oh, snap.
What was that laugh?
It's so funny that it was voted on a poll to watch that movie, I feel like.
That's okay. That's pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good.
Solid.
Let's get into our main review. We're going to be discussing Jurassic Park. Steve, you look like you're fucking ready to press something. Do it, buddy.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yes.
ready.
Na, 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 I listened to that score, that song, the theme song, twice on the way here.
Oh, that's a good one.
Are you guys familiar with someone taking that audio and putting a "What are those? What
Yeah,
are
I've seen that.
those?"
Yeah.
Oh man,
There's
those
so
are
many-
so good.
There's so many good remixes of that. That song is so good because, obviously it's iconic. It's
Yeah.
amazing. People play it at weddings. Like that's like the bride's coming down to Jurassic
Yeah,
Park.
yeah. The gates are opening, and here she comes.
Here she comes. And,
running down the aisle because the T-Rex is chasing her.
Yeah, people have like put
In
in
heels.
like. Have you seen the wedding photos where people are running in a field and they like digitally put in a T-Rex
That's
chasing all of
awesome.
them in
Yeah.
their wedding outfits? So fun.
So
So
fun.
fun.
So fun. Life finds a way.
Were you guys able to? So I went to Universal Studios. I think it was 2015, and it's when they had the Jurassic Park ride. Still, were you guys able to experience that?
Never been to a Universal or a Disney World or anything like that.
Man,
Never got to experience the ride. I think when I went to Universal, I don't think it was around.
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that its time was nearing an end, so I was like, well, we gotta ride it, And we went on it, and we got stuck. The first time I ever rode it, we got stuck right. There's a moment in the ride where you're going up
You're
the
going
hill.
up and the raptors are attacking you.
No. And right before you go down the hill, the T-Rex comes out at you. Well, the thing is, we got stuck right at the top, before you go down. So the T-Rex came out "Roar," and then stopped. So we were maybe 2 or 3 feet away from the dinosaur, just mid ah. And but they gave us another free ride, so we were just able to get brought down, put back in line, and then we got to go to the front again. But
That's kind of fun. You got a front row seat to really inspect that animatronic T-Rex.
I was like, all right, it looks good for being a couple years old,
Yeah, my understanding is they redid it, and now it's a Jurassic World theme.
It is.
And it's nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Just like the movie.
yeah. Zing.
I haven't revisited since they've done the Jurassic World rendition, but
That is one big pile of shit.
yeah, that's I'm sure what a lot of people are saying when they're
Hot
there.
take. I like Jurassic World. It's just
All
obviously
right.
not.
The first Jurassic World, I agree. I think it's
It's
dumb.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
And that's important.
That's the only one I've seen. I haven't seen the sequels.
Now the sequels, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion,
I turned
are
Dominion
trash.
off. I turned Dominion off after 20 minutes,
it's terrible. It's so bad.
which I rarely do.
It's Dominion, both of them are bad, but Dominion specifically is offensively bad throughout.
I mean, is it just bad writing, bad story?
Yes,
what?
yes. Bad effects, bad world building. There's literally a scene in Dominion that is more like a scene from like a bad Star Wars where, I don't know, well, you might have not gotten to this where they get to the dinosaur black market. Where there's just weird characters who are like, it looks like a cantina scene where it's like, hey, we got a compy here. And there's like a guy with a hook in a hand, like, I got my dinosaurs.
Hey, what over here? Get your dinosaurs.
Oh, with a hook for a hand. Madison just perked up.
I know. I said, wait a minute.
Hook me.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Where's he at?
Tell me. Where's this dinosaur black market?
But what are your guys' thoughts overall on the 1993 Steven Spielberg directed Jurassic Park?
Madison? Jeff?
Leave it
Ian?
on. Yeah, leave it to me first. I rated it 5 stars in my Letterboxd.
Yeah.
LBXD.
LBXD, our new word for Letterboxd. So I can't remember when I first watched this movie, and I want to say that my first experience with just Jurassic Park in general was actually one of the sequels, like when I was little. But I remember this movie being ingrained in my brain from my high school literature and film class. I took a lit and film class in high school, and I had seen the movie a couple of times previous, but then I got to watch this movie in a new light because we had to read the book, and then we had to watch the movie, and we dissected the shit out of this movie, like all of the angles, all of like the coloring, the costumes. And so now that I've gotten older, and then I studied video and film in college, and then revisiting this movie, and I'm still seeing new things that I didn't before, just kind of shows like the giant, I don't know, just how extraordinary this movie is and how much thought and detail was put into it. And so, yeah, I think it's a masterpiece of a film. Watching it again, and every time I watch it, I find something new, or I revisit something. I'm like, oh, it still hits. It's still so good. Yeah. And then I love continuity errors in movies. I think it's so fun. And I always get so excited with the part where the hand comes out and touches the velociraptor in the kitchen. You know what I'm talking about?
The hand touches a velociraptor. What?
You haven't seen that?
There's
a stunt hand that.
For a second, I thought you were talking about like Samuel Jackson's arm. That seemed like he wasn't in the kitchen.
But it's so funny that that's in there. And yeah, I don't know. It's such a good, and there's such a good community base behind this movie too. Like the fan base for it and the costuming. It's just so good. It's one of my favorite movies.
That's a photo of it, Chris, if you want to know what she's talking about. Like when the raptor in the raptor scene, the first one breaks, like open the door, there's a hand that kind of comes out and I guess is keeping the animatronic steady in the doorway.
Yeah, because I think I don't know if the story was like very top heavy, but he would like, you could physically see a hand come out from the side and just like touch the butt of the velociraptor.
Yeah. I've never noticed that.
Really?
Yeah. I just watched it obviously for this recently the other day. Isn't it true that the book is like much more violent?
Yes.
Much more scary?
Yeah.
Well,
you read the book as well, Steve?
I have read both books, yes.
Ooh.
I've only read the book once, but I believe the first book kind of encapsulates all 3. Is that correct?
No, the first book is the first movie.
Okay.
Yeah, the first book's the first movie. There is like very stark, it follows the same basic plot line, but there's very different characterizations in like, so John Hammond in the book is an absolute evil bastard and not the loving grandfatherly figure that Richard Attenborough plays.
I got some things to say about that, but go on.
Different characters die, different characters live. The lawyer is fucking awesome in the book. He's one of the best characters. And he's like a good dude. He like saves the kids a couple times.
Interesting.
And they were like, we can't depict lawyers this way in film.
No, we have to make him an absolute weenie. Give him shorts with his dress shirt.
I know. I should have dressed like him.
One of the things
that would have been raw sex appeal.
Right.
One of the things that we talked about specifically for the lawyer, like we went into deep characterization when I took this class in high school, and I truly think my professor that I had was just also a huge fan of this movie, because I want to say, like, we had, I think maybe 10 weeks with this class or whatever. We spent probably 4 or 5 of it just talking about Jurassic Park, and the fact that I still revisit this movie and I'm not tired of it, I think shows. But I remember for the attorney, like the opening scene where the water is like all blurry out and stuff like that is to like show he's like kind of skeevy and you know how he's not able to walk in the he's like tripping and stuff
he
while
trips.
there's all over the place.
He's corporations influencing the true spirit of science basically, and he's like he doesn't belong there.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Those reasons.
So good.
Steve, what are your overall thoughts?
Well,
you like this movie?
It's about a B. No. No. So my experience with Jurassic Park is a very special one. This was the very first PG-13 movie I ever saw. Ooh. It was the first PG-13 movie I saw in a theater. Came out in 1993.
You would have been 6.
I was 6 years old. I was just a wee tyke, but there were dinosaurs, right? And so, of course, like I was like, mommy, dinosaurs. Because I was just like every other little boy in the world. I was obsessed with dinosaurs. There's a dinosaur movie coming out. It's the dude who made E.T. My mom's like, oh, that's the guy who made E.T. Steve loves E.T. Let's go see the Jurassic Park movie that he made. And, you know, obviously I go see it. It's mind blowing. I still get weepy watching this movie. Like, oh, I'm getting a little weepy now. But like when like the Brachiosaurus first shows up and they're all emotional, like I feel that. And just seeing the dinosaurs move, like the raptor kitchen scene is still, I think, one of the most tense scenes in film. The T-Rex attack is just an incredible technical achievement. And any person who's into film has to be obsessed with how they like film that. The score is great. The acting's great. The audio design's great. I think this might have been one of the first times as a human being I realized like, audio matters, like sound effects and stuff like that. Yeah. Because I think I might have seen Jurassic Park before I saw Star Wars for the first time. And Star Wars is another one of those movies that made me realize that sound design is a big deal.
Is ILM...
ILM did the effects on this, yes.
Isn't that your boy's company too?
That's George Lucas's company. Actually, I've got some stories about that when we get further on. But so this movie was obviously important to me. I remember being 6 years old in the theater. The scary parts would happen, and I would close my eyes. Like, oh no, he's gonna eat the lawyer! Ah! And I'd close my eyes. I'd had my eyes closed for most of the raptor scene. I remember. As soon as that Dilophosaurus, like its frills come out, it's like, like hands on eyes, right? Immediately. And I remember
that's what Nedry should have done.
And then when we got it on VHS, there was that classic, like, I don't know if you remember the VHS for this movie, but it's like pitch black and just the Jurassic Park logo. It's like very bold.
It's one of the dopest fucking logos of all time.
Oh, it's one of the best. Like the production design of this movie as well is incredible. Yeah, so that's the DVD sign. So imagine that logo just set to a black VHS. But I remember getting that VHS and watching it. And over the course of the summer that we had that, I was like, I don't know, 7 or probably at this point. And I'm like challenging myself, like, okay, I'm going to watch the T-Rex scene and not close my eyes. And I would do it.
Was this last week?
Yeah. This is actually on my 36th birthday. But I remember like doing it and running into the kitchen where my mom's doing something like, Mom, I watched the T-Rex scene without my eyes closed. And she's like, all right, buddy. Good for you.
Kid's never.
Yeah. The things that kid won't see.
Never going to have friends. She starts crying in the kitchen.
But as I grow older, this is the movie I literally watch Jurassic Park every year without fail. It's usually around August, September. We managed to watch it on my birthday that Madison was at, the party that Erica organized. And actually, the people watching on YouTube will see that we have the set actually decorated Jurassic Park. And a lot of these decorations were from my birthday party. So behind me is the Jurassic Park, what do you call that? Gate, the door.
Yes,
we got some cool shrubbery behind Kit there. And behind Madison is literally the T-Rex looming over behind her. She looks like Madison. If you were to pose a certain way, it would look like that shot when Malcolm's running away from the T-Rex.
Yeah.
We just need to give you a flare.
Yeah, flare.
We need more depth.
Throw the flare.
Get the kids.
Get the kids.
I'm just in the bush.
You're the clever girl.
I need a shotgun and one of those crooked brimmed hats.
And cargo shorts.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Classic. So many pockets.
I gotta remind. We put a pin in that. Let's put a pin in that.
Pen in the
But
shorts.
Kit, what is your relationship to Jurassic Park 1993?
What can I say that hasn't already been said? I was 5 years old when this movie came out. I did not see it in a theater. I'd never been to a movie theater at this point still, but we got the VHS and we wore that out. I had two older brothers that also loved the movie. I mean, it's cross-generational. It's just a master work of cinema. We watched, it was Jurassic Park, Men in Black, Lion King, Aladdin, Dick Tracy, Rocketeer.
Dick Tracy,
on repeat,
hell yeah.
On repeat, throwing some Howard the Duck
What a
every now and
lineup.
then.
Howard the Duck.
Damn.
And
She fucks that duck.
that's how we grew up, baby. And then a bunch of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I love this movie. Everything about it's perfect. It's a perfect movie. And crazy that the same year Spielberg did Schindler's List.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Famously,
I didn't know that.
So they filmed Jurassic Park, and then he finishes Jurassic Park and immediately starts filming Schindler's List. So at the time, it was like the first time they really utilized satellite TV and did Zoom conferences, because the post-production team working on the special effects would have to show him stuff.
Yeah.
So he would film Schindler's List all day, go to his hotel, and they would have this very expensive custom satellite direct link to the studio across the world, and he could look at what they were creating in the post world and approve stuff. And he finishes filming Schindler's List, I think May 30th, and then this movie came out June 11th, 1993. So literally
he won Best Picture the same in 1994, the 94 Oscars. He wins Best Picture, and not for Jurassic Park, which he also made that year. It's
Wow.
fucking wild. And I think I'm rusty on the lore, but as I recall, he agreed to do Jurassic Park so that they would fund Schindler's List. Schindler's List was his passion project.
Oh,
He's like, I'll fucking make your dinosaur movie, and it's gonna make
I thought he was jazzed for that, because there's a story. And again, I think there is some revisionist history with Steven Spielberg sometimes when he does interviews. But there's an interview I saw where he was at a party, and he ran into Michael Crichton, and he was a fan of Michael Crichton's work, and he's like, "Hey,
I love when that happens at a party.
When you run into Michael Crichton?"
When I run into a famous author as a famous director.
And he asked him "Hey, you cooking up any ideas in the old noggin there?" And Crichton's like, "Well, I got a dinosaur idea." And Steven Spielberg's like, "Oh my God, yes, I want to do that when it's done." And Crichton was like, Spielberg's my first choice and only choice to direct this movie. When did
the book come out?
I think the book came out very shortly before the movie did, because I know they wrote the sequel book specifically because the movie did well.
1990. When the book came out.
Okay, so 3 years.
All right.
And so 2 years before production would have started on this movie.
Wow.
So they gave Spielberg the chance to make Schindler's List on one condition. He had to film Jurassic Park first before he could do any production tasks on Schindler's List. So he was like, bing, bang, boom.
And that makes sense too, because a lot of things I was reading when I was doing research on this was that Spielberg was very nimble with this movie. Even though this movie, he is creating brand new technology and is just literally changing the landscape of how movies are made, he was trying to get done as quickly as he could,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah, not because he didn't like doing it. If you watch behind the scenes stuff, it looks like Steven Spielberg's having the most fun out of everybody on set.
As you're a director and you're filming what is to be anticipated to be two major blockbuster films, I can imagine he was, I don't know, stressed.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, the production designers, there was an interview I saw with them where they were saying, they're building the visitor center of Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. And as they're not done with it yet, and Spielberg comes on set and is like, "Okay, we're good. Leave it as is." And they're like, "What? There's scaffolding. We're not done finishing." He's like, "Oh, we're still building the park. Yeah, leave it." And so that saved them a ton of money, because they're just "Yeah, this is good. They're still building the park. We don't have to finish this."
Yeah.
And so it's it's literally an unfinished set that was supposed to be finished.
Well, and I wonder how, I'm assuming you're talking about the scaffolding, in where the dinosaur bones are and stuff.
And the exterior of it too, I think on the right Like
Okay.
the sides of the building aren't finished. So as they're driving up in the wide shot, you can still see scaffolding and the building still being built.
Well, they like came down the scaffolding. So was
Yeah.
that kind of integrated into the script as well when they
Yep.
like went up into the ventilation system and stuff and
I think
came
so,
out?
yeah.
That's cool. What a G.
And they got to ride the bones down to the ground.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to ride the bones?
I love riding bones, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't get it. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I mean, what a picture.
What a moving picture.
What a moving picture.
What a talkie.
I did not know Schindler's List was kind of the cousin creation of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Even though there's no crossover. Well, maybe. I don't. The Nazis are dinosaurs. Or evil dinosaurs.
They should also be extinct.
No,
Yes.
he actually tried to push off the direction of Schindler's List on Sidney Pollack and Martin Scorsese because he was so nervous about doing it, but also he was so busy at the same time. And he pulled off one of the greatest cinematic feats in history, making these two movies in the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
One of my favorite movies, period, I'm not even being like an asshole, is the Spielberg documentary. Which I've recommended on the show like 5 times. I think it's still streaming on Max. I've watched it like 3 times.
I have not seen it, but I
It's
want to
so
check it out.
good because what I've said this every time, but what's so funny to me is that Lucas, De Palma, Scorsese, and Spielberg were all buddies. And they were all up and coming directors that nobody knew. And now they're like the
Biggest.
4 horsemen of a massive
Knights of the Round
movement.
Table.
Yeah. And they were just homies. And so like Brian De Palma is the one who came up with the Star Wars opening crawl going into space. He watched it, the first cut, and was like, dude, none of this makes any fucking sense. You need to have some, a prequel in the beginning telling people like setting the stage,
going
my guy.
on?
And you can even do it like stars out in space or whatever. And so that I just find that interesting that they were like, hey, you want to check out my Indiana Jones movie, and and they're like, I don't get it. Give him
Was
a whip.
that your George Lucas?
I did my best. It's not a Steve's George Lucas.
Steven, I have an idea for a guy with a whip and he fights some Nazis. All right, George, we'll do it.
Well,
What if Shia LaBeouf swings with the monkeys?
wasn't
Give me the monkeys.
Indiana Jones was a favor to Spielberg, as I recall, because the movie that Spielberg had done previously. So Spielberg had a reputation for going 2 months over schedule and $15 million over budget. And he was getting away with it because his movies usually were massively successful, but studios didn't like him. They didn't love him because it's like, you're going to go $20 million over budget and you're going to take fucking forever.
Yeah.
And Lucas was like, I want you to do Indiana Jones, but it was like, you can't fuck this up, man, and it was like because they were buddies, and like you can do
Yeah.
that if you're like, imagine having buddies like that.
I know.
Don't fuck it up.
Direct my Indiana Jones, Nux,
Right.
Nux.
Give him a whip.
Honestly, I'm a shitty director. I'm not gonna. I know.
I know it. Everyone else knows it. I don't people good, but I like coming up with worlds.
That's true.
I don't people good. Oh my God.
That's why you shouldn't write the dialogue either, George.
Yeah.
How about I just stand in the back and nod my head yes or no at ideas? Yeah, so Steven Spielberg is so incredible because you watch behind the scenes footage of this movie, and like I said, he looks like he's having an absolute ball. And I was watching a documentary. It was just like a 20-minute like Steven Spielberg directing Jurassic Park documentary, and I was actually getting emotional like listening to him talk about.
Oh yeah.
Like he was like, it was very important to me. I guess probably because he knew that directing Schindler's List was just over the horizon and he knew that was going to be very difficult for him.
Sure.
He was like, it was very difficult to me that when I directed Jurassic Park, I would do it as if I were a little kid. And you watch him and yeah, he's like, the actors are on set reacting to, things that aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And so you see him on a bullhorn going, "Wah, wah." Now look to the right, "Wah." Like he's making weird little dinosaur noises and it's really funny to watch. And
Yeah.
he's bopping around and making 65 million year jokes and the two child actors. What are the names? There's Joseph Mazzola, who plays Tim, and I think Ariana Richards, who plays Lex.
Yes.
Both of them say, and this is something we talked about in our ET review, is that he's so good at directing children.
Oh, he's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he would like play games with them on set, and he would. Joseph Mazzola specifically was talking about how Steven Spielberg would ask him for advice, like little 10-year-old Timmy, like, hey, what do you have? Would you have an idea for this scene? And he would give him his idea, and he would like, let's do that. And he said it really made him feel like, because he was saying like on most movies as a child actor, you feel as like this othered person, like there's the adults doing their thing, and then you're the little kid that they bring in from time
Needs
to
to
time.
follow
With like a
directions.
wrangler.
Yeah, but he was saying you need a wrangler.
It's like filming with animals.
Get the cats in here. But he said Steven Spielberg really made him feel like they were a part of the gang, as it were, which is so sweet.
I mean, this is like the perfect storm, this movie, right? Like even the child actors are incredible. You've got Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Sam Neill.
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
Richard Attenborough.
Yes.
Yes.
Sam Jackson.
B.D. Wong.
I always forget he's in this movie.
Samuel Jackson.
And I am
Hold on to your
always
butts.
so happy when I see him.
Just constantly
Chain
lighting
smoking.
a cigarette. Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
as
Hanging
soon as
on
he
the
puts
butts.
one out, just lighting another one. That's what he meant by hold on to your butts. Cigarette butts.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Hang on
But
to your ciggies.
John Williams doing if not the most iconic score, one of his 20 iconic scores.
20's
Let me
being
just
conservative.
poop out another great soundtrack.
And like you said, perfect sound design. I think they did, what was it, like 6, it was like whales and all kinds of shit garbled together to make the dinosaur like
Let's hear it,
sounds.
Steve. Let's
You want to
hear
hear it?
Yeah.
No, this is a little long. It's about a minute long, but we can talk over it.
Okay.
This is
Close my
T-Rex is not
This is
a
Gary
vocal, it's
Winstrom.
really his feet. So this
Gary
is
Winstrom.
sections of a redwood tree falling for the footsteps.
So that's a T-Rex stomping.
Trees falling.
Yeah.
And then whale. I didn't get much vocals from a whale that I liked, but their blowhole made good breathing for the T-Rex. This alligator, low frequency, really low.
That's nuts.
Sounds like my stomach.
So hear how it'll be the low frequency element of the final roar. This is the line which I used for the attack. I tried not to use this, but I had to. It's just too good.
It is very good.
Yeah.
The key element is the high frequency scream element, which is a baby elephant that we recorded. The big elephants we recorded weren't very interesting at that time, but the baby elephant came out and made this scream, and the baby elephant only did this once, and we kept trying to get it to do it again. And the handlers were saying, we never heard it do that before. That's a weird sound. So every time the T-Rex screams in the first Jurassic Park, that baby elephant is part of the major roar. Here it is by itself, the little cute baby elephant and the high-pitched scream that it made. That was a baby elephant. So now see how that
That's
blends
the
with the
noise.
rest.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
So this is all of it together. Like, how wild is that? That you're taking like all these different things and combining them into one, and you create a whole new creature.
That's some voodoo shit.
That gave me chills.
Yeah, I mean that
That's
That
T-Rex.
baby
awesome.
elephant noise is the T-Rex, oh God, it just scrapes your spine.
I think sound design is by far my favorite part of film. Like
Oh,
that.
yeah?
That. Oh yeah. God.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Like that's wild. And then to be like, oh, I'm gonna record these animals and just get whatever I can, and then kind of just because you're creating something from nothing. Like we don't know what dinosaur noises sounded like.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
And these sounds that they've made have become so, like, I feel like we as a civilization of human beings like directly correlate a T-Rex to that noise now.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you watch anything in
Every
cinema,
time I see one, I'm
if
like,
I see
Yeah.
well, if you see a T-Rex in any movie and it doesn't, and that noise does not come out of its mouth, you're like, that's not a believable T-Rex. I don't think that
You didn't
T-Rex
do
is
your
very
research.
Yeah, you didn't do your research. That's not how they sound, obvi. Or like the raptor, all the raptor caws and screeches and squeals. Like, oh man, it's so perfect.
you don't want it to be too accurate though. like when dinosaurs have feathers, it's like, stop.
Roar! Roar!
Scary dino.
That's how raptors really sound.
Yeah.
Raptor!
Like their Pokemon.
Run.
Raptor! Raptor! Raptor!
Yeah, and I think so you've got all of that from a technical standpoint. I mean, this is one of the first and most influential use of computer-generated effects, right? Like the CGI.
This was the one.
They were going to do everything practical, and it just wasn't looking right. You know, it was probably going to come out like a B movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad story because they always, from day one, they planned on anything close up was always going to be the animatronics that like Stan Winston's team was going to create because it's Stan Winston, right?
Yeah.
A legend of the industry. But the wide shots were originally supposed to be stop motion capture created by Phil Tippett, who is
A legend.
He is a legend. He is the stop motion guy. Like if you watch anything in the 80s that featured any sort of stop motion, like Ed 209 for RoboCop, that's Phil Tippett. And then there was these two guys. I have the one guy's name in front of me, but there were two computer generated guys at ILM. What they were going to do was, so Phil Tippett would do the stop motion of the dinosaurs, but because stop motion will always look fake because it's still frames, right?
Yeah.
And motion, there's motion blur. So if you're watching the YouTube, as I'm moving my hand, you can see blur as my hand moves. That's just how it looks. But if it's stop motion, you're taking individual stills and you don't get that blur. So even if you're not aware of that happening, the human mind still recognizes, well, that doesn't look real.
Yeah.
And it's because there's a lack of motion blur. So what these designers were supposed to do was get the animatronic or the stop motion footage from Phil Tippett, and then they were going to add motion blur in post to make it more real. But it still wasn't coming out perfect. So these two guys, one guy's name is Steve Spaz Williams, and I forget the other guy's name. I wish I had it in front of me. But they were like, I think we can do this better. Like Steve specifically was the one who was like, I'm going to make a computer-generated model. And his boss, who was Dennis Murren, who's kind of in charge of the special effects team, was like, no, you're not fucking doing that. We hired Phil Tippett for that. Stay in your lane, dude.
Yeah.
And so for 5 months, this guy like went rogue on his own and created a skeletal structure of the T-Rex and animated it walking.
Oh.
And then there was supposed to be a meeting with like Steven Spielberg, Kathleen Kennedy, Dennis Murren. We're going to come in to kind of see how the stop motion digital motion blur was going.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, Steve Williams, just took the animation he had been working on in secret for months and just put it on a monitor and had it looping.
Yeah.
So when they came into his office for their meeting, Kathleen Kennedy was like, hey, what's this? And they explained it. They're like, oh, that's
baller.
Start working on that. And then Dennis Murren's like, you motherfucker.
He said
And-
mic drop.
Yeah, and then that changed the whole, like, I think for a couple months, they're like, okay, put skin on it, animate it running, and we'll see how it is. He spent months on it. Steve Williams was super worried about it because he was afraid he had been, like, running his mouth and he wasn't going to be able to deliver. But he managed to make this, like, 5-second clip of the T-Rex running, fully modeled with skin and everything. They put it on a roll of film. They took it over to the private studio, I think in Lucas's private studio, because it was like Kathleen Kennedy, George
Come on
Lucas, Stan Winston, Steven Spielberg, and they watched it. And the story is that George Lucas cried because it was so incredible.
I'm so
And-
sad.
George.
And Stan Winston's like running, like, well, I have to make some calls. And and then from that point on, they're like, okay, Phil Tippett's team's no longer doing the effect. And it was like apparently a real big thing. Like Phil Tippett got like pneumonia and depression and was just no one could get a hold of him for like 10 days.
Talk about sore loser.
Well, and well, the other
That's when he started working on Mad God. I'm pretty sure that took him like 20 years.
Probably, yeah. Well, the urban legend is Steven Spielberg had the meeting with Phil Tippett to let him know they were no longer doing the stop motion effects, and Phil Tippett said, "I feel like I'm going extinct," and Steven Spielberg went, "Oh, that's a good line. We're putting that in the movie."
Oh my gosh.
But everything kind of worked out for Phil Tippett. He's still credited as the
Sure.
dinosaur
The
supervisor.
Dino Force.
Dinosaur. He's the dinosaur supervisor because the CGI animators didn't know how to animate necessarily.
Like how to, like the motions that they would animate, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
Phil Tippett had spent a whole career knowing how people move and stuff. So he was in charge of kind of making sure. I think they had some sort of rig where he would still do the stop motion animation, but that rig could correlate into a computer, and then the computer could know that movement. And then,
okay.
Yeah. So he still was able to do it.
Was it his hand that we saw on the dinosaur in
Maybe.
the kitchen?
That was Carl, one of the grips.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you watch
Carl, your fucking hands in the shot.
Fuck it, Carl.
Fucking
Yeah, if you
Carl.
watch the episode of Jurassic Park on the movies that made us, they go into that story real hard. So if you want to know more about that, check that out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff, especially for students of film. Like you said, so much going on there.
Because every movie does this now. Like every movie is computer animated stuff.
This is where George dreamt of the prequels, and that's why he was crying.
I'm gonna make so much more money.
Oh my god!
I can make the prequels now.
I just got an idea for the cantina scene to be extended.
I want a long mouth alien to sing, and everyone's gonna hate it.
He looks like the pile of shit and says, I have an idea.
I know people good.
I know people good.
Everyone knows this.
This episode was brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, you know what's good for you, but your brain gets in the way and you just can't quite pull it off. Like when you're trying to fall asleep at night, you got to get up at 7 a.m. You got to work. You want to go to the gym before work, but at 3 a.m., you're just thinking about hippopotamuses, hippopotami. I don't know how to pluralize it. It doesn't matter. You get the idea. So sometimes your brain's getting in its own way. You know what you should do, what's good for you, but you just can't do it. Therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself. You can help find the blocks in your life that are getting in your way, and BetterHelp can get you there. It can match you up with a licensed therapist to help meet your needs. If you don't like your therapist, you can switch free of charge at any time. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
It's October, and along with the scares, we're bringing our own appreciation for the patrons of Streaming Things, the super patrons especially. We want to give them a special shout out for the month of October. Thank you so much to Becky the Farmer, Kaylee Sampson, Stanton Valentino, Sunshine, Huckleberry Cauliflower, Optimus, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Little Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, A.K. Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Jason Hawkins, Butthorn, Conrad, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Jose Ruben Cruz Rodriguez, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Emmy, Joe Velez, Valerie, John Collins, Amber McVeigh, Amanda King, Trisha Bueller, Sun, Loving, Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Lauren Waller, Jadinklage Morgoon, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Jeanette Murphy, Ashley Powers, Stephen the Fifth, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you all so much, and back to the show.
I think watching it this most recent time, I was really struck by what's so special about this movie, what anchors this movie. The dinosaurs are cool. Like, it's legitimately scary at many points. Like you pointed out, like this would be he should do more horror. He's just not a mean-spirited person, so I don't think that occurs to him, but like he's a really effective horror director. But it's the emotional core of Sam Neill, right? Grant, and his hatred of children.
Oh, yeah.
And his reluctance to be a father, and how that kind of, Laura Dern's like really patient about it, but she's someone who wants kids. So this is kind of an issue that they're gonna have as soon as they're not obsessed with their work, right?
Right.
And so that whole arc of him learning that he's actually a really good father, Specifically, there's a moment like right in the middle when Lex is freaking out. And he left us talking about the lawyer way after the fact. She's just like, the shock is subsiding. And he said, that's not what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
And he's not even scared, ostensibly. Like, he's not freaking out. I mean, his hand is steady. You know what I mean? Like, he's ready to rock. I don't know. I think it's a really special moment as an adult watching it, like how much he protects those kids. Yeah.
Because, you're right. Like, even though this movie has this really, really great concept of like, hey, what if dinosaur exists? What if there's a theme park about them and everything breaks down?
Because that's all Crichton.
Yeah, that's all Crichton.
Yeah.
But I mean, Crichton also came up with Dr. Grant taking care of the kids. But I think the whole like Dr. Grant hates kids thing is very much a movie thing. Like I think it's present in the book, but it's very hammered home in the movie. There's more emotionality in the movie than there is in the book. The book is very much about science and what has man done and all that stuff.
Sure. I think there's something really Spielbergian about daddy issues and like parents, and he puts that in all of his movies because he has the divorce really fucked him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really did, yeah.
And watch The Fabelmans if you want his arc to be completed. It's literally just a movie about his mom. But yeah, I think it's just really special, and it hits every time. However, you did mention John Hammond. And how
John Hamm?
Not John Hamm. He's always on my mind. That man. I was also struck by what a piece of shit he is this time, more than
in this movie.
The 300 other times I've watched this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Like he clearly there is a read on the character where like this is his life's work. He's just so obsessed and so passionate. He believes in it so much. He's unwilling to relinquish this dream, and that's why. He's over reliant on his own ability to do this. His ego is what gets his family in trouble, what gets everybody in trouble. Poor guy. Like, and at the end when he's staring at the park to say goodbye and they have to kind of snap him out of it, that's sad, right?
Yeah.
There's also a very legitimate take where you notice that the guy pushes everything through inspections. Like there's a comment early on where they say Hammond hates inspections.
Yeah.
You are creating one of the most dangerous things unknown to man, not ever known. Like this is completely uncharted territory. And you're rushing through the science. You're going to open this park to the public, specifically children. That is your target demographic, you say later on. And you're just going to rush the inspections, right? Like everything about this.
As Laura Dern points out, there are poisonous plants in the lobby, but he just picked them because they look good.
They're so pretty.
Yeah, they're so pretty.
And
Dennis
then
Nedry specifically betrays the park because Hammond won't pay him enough. And Dennis Nedry is literally the only person in charge of like
security,
the entire infrastructure of the park. And he just will not work with. And then obviously Dennis Nedry is a little bit of an asshole, but
don't get cheap on me, Dotson.
Don't get cheap on me.
That was Hammond's mistake.
Yep.
But also, I think he's like a gambler and stuff, and so that's why, like, he could make a ton of money. He just doesn't have enough because he's bad with it.
Yeah,
Because Hammond's like, I
will
don't judge people for their mistakes.
I'll not be drawn in another financial debate with you, Dennis. I really will not.
Exactly.
I also love how John Hammond is presented in this all white, like almost godly figure. Like he is playing God essentially, like creating this. Like, all tying back to my high school class. When I say we analyzed the shit out of this movie, we really did. But he's like wearing all white, like to embody this like God, like I created this, I created these dinosaurs. I am playing God element. And then the juxtaposition of that is Ian Malcolm's character who's wearing all black. And like being the sound of reason, like you are, taking this way too far. And again, I think it's tying in more into like the wardrobe element and how like the detail oriented they went with that. But
they're diametrically opposed viewpoints.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you have the attorney that's wearing like this ugly ass beige color, kind of like the mix in between of, wanting to take in the money part of it, but also kind of having reservations as well. So
I love the John Hammond character because you're right. He's very complex. Like none of this happens without him. Like all the stuff happens and goes wrong because of the mistakes that John Hammond's made.
Yeah.
But there's also this like really beautiful and tragic story to that character because you could tell like he's just somebody who really wants to make something that wows people, that opens up imagination, and dinosaurs is that for him.
Yeah, the monologue about the flea circus is where a lot of the empathy comes in.
There's this earnestness to him, and he's not like most billionaires in movies where it's like all about the money, because there's that point when the lawyer's like, we can charge whatever we want. And John Hammond's like, no, everyone deserves to see this. Like, this is something that's going to benefit all of mankind.
Yeah, but then the lawyer says we can have a coupon day, and then Hammond's like, that is a good idea.
That's funny.
You know?
I mean, it's funny.
And he brings his grandchildren there specifically to manipulate the paleontologists. You know what I mean? Like, that is their purpose there, to like have everybody intoxicated by how much fun they're having. And that is this is a full of people have already died at this park. That is why everyone's there.
Yeah.
To kind of
Yeah.
testify that it's okay to open. That's why he wants
The
them there.
investors are concerned.
And I know, again, he's blinded by his own ego, his own belief, and so he doesn't feel like his grandchildren are in any danger. Maybe you could make that argument, but like as a parent, as an adult watching this, I'm like, you're a piece of shit. Get them away from me. And where are their parents?
Well,
you just let like you're going to grandpa's weird island with dinosaurs.
Well, did you catch at the beginning when I forget who says this line, but supposedly John Hammond's daughter is going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the children are there. Because I had the same thought. I was like, if my multi-million-dollar father was making, dinosaurs on an island, my kids would not be there. But, if I was going through a divorce, maybe.
Yeah.
Get him out of my sights.
Yeah, because I got some pirates coming over this weekend.
Yeah. I can't have him here.
Do you know the original ending for Jurassic Park, the movie? What it was supposed to be?
So I thought of a joke way after the fact.
Oh, sorry.
No,
do you
it's
want
not
to say
no,
it?
no.
The floor is yours.
They're gonna swab my poop deck. I should have.
That is one big pile of shit.
Oh, shit.
But go on.
No, the original ending for Jurassic Park, so it ends mostly the same. The raptors chase them. They go into the lobby, right?
Yeah.
So the original ending was one of the raptors shows up. Grant, they all get on like a crane or something that's in the lobby. Grant, like the raptor's on the crane. He smashes it into the T-Rex skull, which falls and it kills the raptor. And then the second one comes out and it looks like the raptor's about to pounce on him. But instead of a T-Rex coming and saving the day, John Hammond shows up and shoots it.
Shoot her!
And it's supposed to be this like character arc closing moment for John Hammond, literally, because he in the
Killing
beginning
his dream.
he's killing his
watches
dream,
the
and it's
baby
also,
hatch.
Yeah, it's the first baby. He's like, I want to be present for the birth of every animal on this island, and he literally kills one at the end, and it's kind of like him not endorsing his own park, and his character arc goes through that loop. But I think you get that
Yeah.
with that, like you said, there's that shot of him like looking wistfully back at the park and looking sad, and like I think you get that he feels that way. You don't need that sort of like Rambo moment with John Hammond.
Well, I also think too, I don't know when it became a realization for him, but I'm sure it was when him and Ian Malcolm were in the little bunker, and you have again like the smashing of opinions between the two of them, and they're kind of arguing how to direct Ellie like through the. I don't know. I think that's when the realization kind of sunk in as well.
Yeah,
And then
I
he
think he
also
starts to think. I think he starts to think about it in the conversation he has with Ellie over the ice cream. I think she's the first one to really kind of puncture through his bubble of.
Oh, yeah,
ego.
she hits him in the face with it.
Yeah.
She's like, "You're still thinking about it." He's like, "Oh, it's going to be great. Don't worry. We're going to fix all this." And this is just
She's
another
like-
flea circus.
She's like, other people are still dying, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
that is his
come on, man.
complete turn. But I love that at first, everyone's missing, including his grandchildren, and he's just in there eating ice cream. And I get it. It becomes a somber, great scene, but initially it's a shock. Like, bro. And then she's
He's a
like, the ice
stress
cream is
eater.
good.
Who doesn't
Yeah,
stress
who doesn't
eat?
stress eat?
Spared
You
no
know?
expense.
That ice cream's gonna go bad, Chris. There's no power.
Exactly.
But watching the ending this time, I think they were inspired heavily by King Kong, because like the
Oh, yeah,
whole
for sure.
idea is that the T-Rex is kind of a good guy in a sense, in the same way that King Kong is like, an animal. Like it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Not a safe friend, but kind of the king of the jungle
yeah.
in a sense where it's kind of a hero at times, and that's how
yeah.
people view it. And the raptors are the real enemy because they're the smarmy, smart little
They're
fuckers.
bastards, man.
They're like playing poker in the jungle and shit. Like, nah.
Are you talking about like the ending where the banner falls?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
"Meow."
Yeah.
That's my T-Rex noise.
That's literally what happened. Like Steven Spielberg, he was like, we can't go through this whole movie and not show the T-Rex again. He's the hero. Like people are going to want to see that T-Rex. So
Yeah.
they rewrote the ending so the T-Rex saves the day. And he
It's
actually
a T-Rex skew.
he specifically called out King Kong.
Really?
As that, and
That's
also
awesome.
the gate behind me. He told like the I think Art Bell's his name, the production designer who designed all the stuff for the park. He told like he had this like Disneyland entrance originally, like it looked like a Disneyland theme park entrance, and Steven Spielberg's like, no, I want it to look like the door in King Kong, the gate that separates King Kong from the people of Skull Island. And so that's where the inspiration is. Actually, there's so much King Kong in this movie.
Fuck yeah. I'm
Yeah.
smart.
Oh, yeah.
You are
Nice.
smart. You're smart. You're a smart boy.
I may not be a smart man, but I know what King Kong is.
You movie good. You movie good.
I don't people good, but I movie good. I want to see Forrest Gump's TikTok channel analyzing movies. 2 stars, didn't have Jen A.
You should make a joke letterbox account.
I love House of Cards because it's got Jen A. Robin Wright's in it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I think you need to actually make a Forrest Gump letterbox account and just make
That
joke
would
reviews
be
like
awesome.
Okay.
that. I would,
Please
I would,
do that.
I would follow that on
Make sure-
LBXD.
LBXD, baby.
Life's like a box of chocolates. Never know what you're gonna get.
That was the closest Pippin impersonation you've ever done, and it was your Forrest Gump
I
joke.
know. Look, I'm a rookie. I gotta keep working on
I
it.
didn't even register that
This is my safe space
She
to
was-
do practicing my impression.
doing British Forrest Gump.
Jenny. Jenny.
Are there any standouts in this movie, like in terms of like actors or?
I mean, it's all
It's got to
stellar
be.
stuff.
It's got to be Goldblum as far as because that guy's personality. I have a question for Madison.
Lay it on me.
Based on your
My attire.
attire and your general taste, I'm assuming I know the answer to this question, but it's curious to me. Do you find Ian Malcolm to be someone you'd want to sleep with, or is he smarmy? He doesn't creep you out.
Yes.
You don't think he's inappropriate in his what am I?
I don't think so.
Looking for the
Overtures-
next
overtures.
Malcolm?
Yeah, he's got multiple ex-wives.
Are you talking about Jeff Goldblum specifically,
you-
or
you
Dr.
asked
Ian Malcolm?
Dr. Ian Malcolm? Because watching,
Hold on.
I don't think it's okay to act the way he's acting, and yet women, people in general, I would like to have sex with
I would
a
like
man.
to have sex with him.
Exactly. So I'm like,
When
what
his
is it
shirt's
about?
off and his legs
Well,
hurt.
you're asking
let me take care of you.
25-year-old Madison. The answer is yes. I would definitely sleep with him.
Okay, say you're in that helicopter.
If he did,
Hold on.
if he did the water drop butterfly theory,
It would
thing,
work on me.
He'd be like,
Really?
tiny little disruptions. in
Okay,
your
hold
hand,
on.
hair
If you're
follicles?
separating it, it's just Ian Malcolm, not Jeff Goldblum.
It's the character.
I would be hesitant because I know I would be like, you're flirting with me. Like,
He's the
you're
bad
not-
boy of mathematicians.
Yeah, like you're trying to fucking work. You're there with your boyfriend.
He doesn't
and
know you're together though.
come on.
He
only
does.
he only finds
He
out.
does not care.
He doesn't care. You're right. He doesn't give a
Which,
shit, but he
although-
doesn't know. But when Dr. Grant's like, yeah, we're together in the
I
car,
do-
he's like, ah, man,
Dang.
I'm sorry.
That's his way of saying, dang, you're going to
Yeah.
be really mad when I fuck her. That's what that is. I was just curious because it's like you're in that helicopter, you're there to work, you're there with your boyfriend, and there's this guy in the corner going, rawr, rawr. Exactly. He's got his fucking shirt mostly unbuttoned. He's chilling. He's like,
He's posing with a broken leg.
he's not even subtly flirting when he's doing the water hand trick. He's like caressing. He's almost sucking the pinky. And I love that Laura Dern's performance is one who's totally into it, but also like seemingly oblivious. Like they play her like she looks at Grant like, check this out. Check this out.
Isn't
Yeah.
Chaos Theory great?
Yeah, he's breastfeeding at me. I don't know why. Check this out. Chaos is crazy. So anyway, that's my rant. I was just wondering, and I knew you were going to be like, oh, totally. And I just find that like I feel like we make excuses for certain characters against how we would normally like people to behave, and we're like, except for that guy.
But
I'm into it.
I do want to bring up though.
Like
I mean,
he's so Jersey Shore, but it works.
Guido. He has Guido energy. I do want to bring up though Dr. Sanders Ellie and Grant. I'm like, it took me a little bit. I had to watch the movie a couple of times to be like, are they together?
There's no chemistry, like sexually.
It's not that right, but I was like,
He like
they.
touches her butt when you
I
first see
do.
him.
Oh yeah, I do. I've seen that now.
He's
but
digging at that dig.
But I always was like, are
Searching for
they
bones.
together? Or was Dr. Grant just like saying that to Malcolm to like
Protect her.
yeah, and I believe now
Well,
they are together.
They
but
are supposed to be together, but it's supposed to be like a not a will they won't they, but they have a weird complicated relationship. Even in the book, where like there's you could tell there's an attraction there, but for whatever reason, like Grant has like relationship commitment issues.
They've never slept together in the book.
Well, no,
I think they have. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think that they are actively in a relationship. Like, they've been together. My interpretation of it is they are working. So at the first part of the book, the movie, they're being very professional and they're just not letting their relationship show through, which I think is a solid, thing to have in a relationship. And then obviously towards the end of the movie, when shit has hit the fan and they've been apart from each other and they come back together. Yes, that's when more of the relationship
They've
shows.
been together for a while, so like some of the heat has died down.
Yeah.
If they were
they're
dating
talking about
6 months,
kids.
they'd be banging in one of the Jeeps,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene with
They
Dennis
wouldn't be
Nedry
riding
getting attacked in
separately.
a Jeep would be those two. But like coming.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, I always, one of the things I hated that the sequels always did was they sort of like, they broke those two up. Because I always like, I want to see them kiss. I want to see it. I love love. And I always was a stand for Dr. Grant and Ellie Sattler getting together.
Yeah.
And then the third movie, like, she's married to another dude, has kids with that guy, and you can tell he's like, missed my chance, darn. And then by Dominion, they're like, I should have never left you, Dr. Grant. Like, oh my God, fuck off.
There's no chemistry there, I'll be honest. And Sam Neill is a sexy man from some weird, sexy cinema earlier in his life.
Yeah.
If you
What
look
was
it
that
up,
movie you just
Possession.
watched? Possession, yeah.
I kind of liked that they didn't kiss in the movie because I think
I
Laura
do too.
Dern's character kind of alludes to this when John Hammond is like, I should really be the one going, blah blah, and then she's kind of like rolling her eyes. Well, we can talk about sexism when I get back.
Hell yeah,
and I
girl.
think if there was a kiss, and I'm sure this was a discussion
Like
in
you
the
have,
writing
you
room,
have a cane.
right?
Practical.
Let's be practical here. I could definitely outrun you.
I'm fast as fuck.
I'm sure there was a discussion in the writing room on whether or not there would be a kiss or a more romantic element between the
I
two
don't
of
even
them.
need a kiss.
I don't need that either.
chemistry.
But I
Sam-
thought there
I
was
think
chemistry.
there's
Dr.
definitely, I feel
Grant-
there's definitely a love there between them that
He's,
I feel.
There's
he's giving Ted. He's giving
Now,
Ted
I
and
could
Karen.
argue that the love they feel is the love of like a good friend or a mentor-mentee, that type of
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
I could give you that.
Do
But
I
I definitely
think-
feel there's a love between the characters.
He knows a lot about raptors. Do I think he knows where a G-spot is? I do not. He's not giving that
I
knowledge.
don't know.
Hey, when it comes to Dr. Grant, you're alive. When he
I
starts
think
to
he
eat you.
does because to be
It's like you got to do the raptor claw upside down.
to be so secure with telling
Sorry,
You
go
get-
on.
Sorry.
to be super secure with to be in a relationship with a woman as beautiful as Dr. Sattler and then to not immediately make it known that he is in a relationship with her.
That's a good take.
Although you are near, Ian Malcolm, who's clearly flirting with her, is
And
clearly
he's completely unbothered by that.
exactly.
He's
so
like, go for it, bro.
I think he does know where the G spot is.
Oh, I get what you're
just
saying.
because of that reason.
I love that take.
Yeah.
That he's just like,
Because if you're a man
He's
and you're
confident.
insecure,
Yeah.
and you're a man, you're insecure with yourself, you're immediately being like, "That's my girl. Don't fuck with her."
is it weird
Yeah.
to want the threesome right now?
I mean,
In my head?
no.
Honestly, that's all I want.
The Grant Sattler Malcolm hanging out in the
Yeah.
Jeep.
Yeah. That's all I want.
Dinosaur's like, "I'll chase the kids."
My dick finds a way.
Have you guys have you guys heard the Ian Malcolm laugh song?
No.
No, please play it.
Please. It's going to be my new ringtone.
So it's this laugh. Someone remixed it into a song right here. Here it comes.
I need this for my ringtone.
I'm just gonna let that play in the background. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
So good.
But yeah, I think Jeff Goldblum's the standout.
Absolutely.
However, there's two.
So you two dig up dinosaurs?
Sorry, I had to go for the drop. I felt it was coming.
I feel like I'm at a club right now. I need Steve to be a DJ.
Oh, shit.
John Williams could never.
Spared no expense on this song.
That's a song created by a YouTuber named Flipshot. So
Thank you,
that's
Flipshot,
awesome.
for
Thank you,
making my
Flipshot.
whole life just click and come together. I think there's two all-timer sequences that stand out for me in the realm of cinema. There's obviously the T-Rex, right?
Yes.
The quivering of the glass of water, visions based on movement.
Done with a guitar string.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
They had a guitar string underneath the console of the car, and they would just flip the guitar string, and it would create that little ripple in the water.
I love that.
And when the T-Rex first comes out, and the whole thing, like killing the lawyer, spinning the car around with the kids are doing incredible acting. It's riveting stuff. And then chasing the car later, even I would throw that in there. Must go faster.
Objects are closer than they appear.
But then also,
Yeah, I
Grant
like
and
that.
Tim climbing down the tree with the car falling after them.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking chef's kiss cinema. I mean, the whole setup of that is so creative. It's terrifying. Climbing down trees is shitty by itself. It's scary anyway, but then you get the car falling after you.
A car chasing you.
And it's rooted in the characters because Timmy is the annoying kid and Grant hates kids, and that's what he's in the position of doing, is having to save that kid specifically. And
I threw up.
they yeah, exactly. And he's very cool about all that stuff. He's like, oh, well, I won't tell anybody.
I love that. That's such a kid thing to be. I threw up.
I throwed up.
Mom, I float up. Can I sweep with you?
That's all right, buddy. I won't tell anybody.
Well,
just
we're back
fell
in
off
the
a
car
tree.
again. I love that line.
Yeah. Well, at least you're not in the tree.
Yeah. Anyway,
There's a weird continuity. Is like the car is knocked off that chasm into a tree, but the T-Rex like walked onto the road. So it's always like, what's the land structure like behind that fence?
I do remember that being. Do you know what we're talking about, Chris?
no.
So at the T-Rex exhibit, you see like the goat, and it's a flat area. And
the
so the
T-Rex
T-Rex
walks
walks over the gated part to get to where the cars are. But when the car is like dipping over the
Oh,
side,
back in the hole where it came from
Yeah.
is a
but it's a hole.
drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe
He
it's just that
walked over.
particular part.
Or
Yeah, but
the-
it's right
It's the
where
part
the
where it came
car
through.
Yeah, the car kind of goes straight up on that lip and falls over. So like it would be at least like maybe the T-Rex came straight through, and then there's just a sheer 50-foot
T-Rex
drop.
is shimmying on the side, like trying to
With his
get to
tiny
the top.
arms,
Yeah, he's like
holding
holding
onto
on.
the
He's
fence.
holding on to the.
That's why he was holding on to the rope, because he was like actually
like,
kind of like shimmying across.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get that go.
Like Laura
want that
Croft
goat.
shifting on the wall.
Those two little arms. I want that go.
That's the only way to make this movie better, is to put Laura Croft in it.
All the dinosaurs would be dead.
True.
She pull out
Yeah.
her dual pistols and shoot 'em all.
Unstoppable.
What's
No, her
what's
tits
the
would
other
just like fucking.
This is Austin Powers.
the pixelated triangular ones? Yeah.
She'd poke the
Clever
dinosaur's
girl.
eyes out.
What was the other sequence that you mentioned?
Those two together, I think. That's the,
all together.
They're back to back. I mean, obviously, when the two kids are stuck with the raptors in the kitchen, would be the other one I would throw in.
Yeah.
That's legitimately fucking terrifying. And it gets me every time because Lex is doing incredible work. But when she's stuck in I've never worked in a fancy kitchen, whatever that is, and she's trying to close the door, and
Yeah.
the raptor gets fooled because it's a reflection. He's like, ugh.
Just slams head
Wait
first
a
into
minute.
stainless steel.
That's great, because like they're really young kids, and watching that even as an adult, I'm like, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
For sure, I'm dead,
It's so good. I mean, I just want to give a shout out. I know a lot of people talk about how cool the T-Rex is, and the T-Rex is like so cool looking. I mean, the animatronic alone, it's like
Everything holds up today, too.
Oh
It's-
my gosh,
It's
yeah.
30 years later.
30 years old, and you watch this movie, it looks better than most movies that come out today.
Only thing that's kind of like, oh, that's early CGI is the
Brachiosaurus?
Brachiosaurus.
Yeah.
The first time you see him and it zooms in on the skin and it looks a little bit like a PS3 game.
Yeah.
So what version did you guys watch? Because I watched, I think, the like very remastered, redigitized version.
I actually don't know because I believe, I'm sad to say, I streamed this on Peacock.
Oh,
I actually don't own the 4K movie.
I rented it on Amazon, but I do have the DVD version here, full screen. By the
full
way,
screen. There
full
you go.
screen,
Gotta get the full screen.
No, does it say full or wide?
full,
Oh, that sucks.
You fool.
full.
But a full screen means that it's stretched to fit the TV. Widescreen would be the real version Spielberg would want you to see.
Oh, well, I thought full screen was like they just got rid of the bars and you see more.
No, it means
You
they
see
they
more
like zoom
vertically,
in.
but you lose the left and right sides of the screen.
Wow, mind blown.
Actually, it's funny you say that because when I was a kid, I only bought full screen specifically. I
Well, yeah.
I hated the bars.
Yeah.
And Andy would make fun of me. And now that we're later, when he went to film school and I got into the stuff I was into, he was like, "Remember when you were a fucking dum dum?" And I was like, "Shut up! I hated the bars."
Well, in your defense, the TVs we had back then,
Yeah.
full screen was better because if you're watching Jurassic Park, you want to see a big giant
You're
dinosaur.
watching it on like a 4x3 TV
On your
screen.
32-inch TV, even
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still like a lot.
and then if you
Yeah.
lose that little bar, like it's totally understandable that you would want the full screen. I mean, you paid
Yeah.
for that TV
I'm watching
screen.
Tomb
use it.
Raider, I want some extra.
Exactly.
I don't even need the wide.
But no, I love the design of the Raptors specifically.
Yeah.
Because those things just look mean and nasty, but also calculating. Like the way
They're
they
cunning.
Yeah, the way they even animate their like eyelids where you can see them kind of like,
Thinking.
At one point it's when it sees Lex trying to, close herself it zooms in on its eye and it like does this like squint where it's like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna fucking tear that kid apart. I hate
you.
everything about you. I'm gonna throw my whole body into your demise. And then when they escape the kitchen,
And they're mean, too,
The
the way
same
they're,
one
like-
watches them.
The way they're taunting them and stuff as they're prowling the kitchen, like, that's why your parents don't love you. Like, come
also
on, man.
love-
They're getting a divorce because it's your fault.
They're tapping their nail. Like, yeah.
The claw
I
tap.
I do like that when they kind of reference the claw because Dr. Grant has the claw and he like throws it, but then you see it later.
Looks like a 6-foot turkey.
Yeah.
Oh, what he does to that kid.
And
Yeah.
then Grant traumatizes a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he said the claw was retractable and you never see it go in, I don't think.
Well, he didn't know.
That's the thing is like,
He was wrong.
the amount we know about dinosaurs is probably almost nothing as far as like accuracy.
Well, right, a real
But in this movie, they're
velociraptor
like-
is the size of a chicken. So
Really?
Really?
yeah, a real velociraptor are like tiny. The dinosaur that's in this movie is closer to what is called a Deinonychus.
I love that you know that.
They knew that back then, but Spielberg was like, Velociraptor's a cooler sounding name. Let's do
Way
that.
cooler.
Yeah.
Also, Triceratops is not a real dinosaur, right?
A Triceratops is. Brontosaurus is not. Like growing up, we all thought Brontosaurus was a thing, but
Brontosaurus?
Brontosaurus isn't a real.
These
it's
are brachiosauruses, right?
correct.
Brachiosaurus is the long neck.
Yeah,
But I thought Brontosaurus
neck.
had a long neck.
it did. Yeah,
bet it doesn't exist.
But Brontosaurus, they realized like, what we thought were Brontosaurus bones were actually the bones of like other things that have different names.
Gotcha. But I mean, this was kind of not the first introduction.
Yeah.
But like they started talking about how dinosaurs were more similar to birds in this one.
Yeah, that was groundbreaking science in the early 90s was that they
Yeah.
were closer to birds than lizards.
Right here in the Chicago Tribune. And now there's no such thing as a Triceratops. Researchers from Montana State University have determined that the beloved three-horned dinosaur wasn't really a distinct genus, but the juvenile version of a Torosaurus.
Oh.
Long believed to be its larger cousin. I've never even fucking heard of a Torosaurus.
Well, Tyrannosaurus sounds so much better.
The article is called Triceratops Beyond Extinct.
Beyond.
Beyond.
So that's sad. First
Yeah.
Pluto, then Triceratops,
What the fuck?
and then Pluto's back.
And now dinosaurs have feathers?
Wait, Pluto's back?
I think Pluto's back, right, Steve?
We love Pluto.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure
I
they
did not
replanetized
hear-
Pluto.
I did not hear about Pluto being back.
Is Pluto a planet?
And if they put it back, it was just because they felt the
The
pressure.
My very
International
excited mother
Astronomical Union,
likes
the
90s.
IAU, downgraded the status of Pluto to that of a dwarf planet, but it did not meet the three criteria the IAU used to define a full size. It's still a planet. It's a dwarf planet.
It's a dwarf planet.
It's not a full size planet.
Have we identified Planet X yet?
XXX
Yeah.
planet triple X.
No, there's apparently a 10th
just Ice
planet
Cube.
in our solar system called Planet X, but no one's really been able to visually spot it, but they know it's out there because
They just
of,
feel it. It's in the Force.
Kind of.
I feel it.
Well, they see things reacting to its gravitational pull, so they know something's out there. But
It could just be Madison's raw sex appeal
Yeah.
out there in space.
That's the theory I want to put
drawing
forward.
things.
My gravity is pretty strong.
You calling her fat?
No, the raw
Yeah,
sex
Chris.
Your body mass is so large it has
appeal.
a
No, the sex
gravitational
appeal.
pull.
The
sex
sex appeal
appeal is-
itself has a magnetism
Magnetism.
that I'm immune to as a podcaster.
I love it.
But everyone else, no chance.
Speaking of raw,
She's in the back like, rawr, rawr,
a
rawr.
tyrannosaur. Rawr. Speaking of raw sex appeal,
Go on.
Dennis Knight or Wayne Knight, excuse me, Wayne Knight.
Nedry?
Yeah,
Nedry. What a guy.
Sure.
love that guy.
Dodson.
Dawson.
Isn't he great in this movie?
He's
Wayne
great.
Knight's
He's
so good.
smarmy, but then he at the most crucial moment, he's a complete bitch. Like when he goes to execute his plan, he's so confident and whatever the whole time. It's so out of character. Then finally, it's time. It's go time, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm like, bro, get it together. You're about to make 1.5 millis, my guy."
Well,
Right.
he didn't plan for a tropical storm to hit when he was.
Yeah, he's
doing
nervous.
He
his
planned
thing.
20 minutes. Now he has to get there in 15.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the dude on the other end's like, "We gotta go." And if you look at the scene that guy on the phone, like he's not gonna get anywhere in that rain in 15 minutes.
Hell
There's
no.
no way.
No, not
No
through the
way.
jungle, especially with what are they called? The little mean ones that spit acid in your face.
Oh, Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus.
Also a dinosaur that is actually like 20 feet tall in real life.
Really?
Oh.
It's way bigger than that.
And they still spit.
No, they're like, yeah, that probably didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I
But
do
that
remember
little
that not being. a
that little
thing.
head frill, the two little things on its head, that is a part of its skull. So that's real.
Okay.
But the actual they took inspiration from an actual lizard in Australia that does like a little frill thing.
Okay.
I do like the frill thing.
A beard? No, I
And that
forget
scene
what
was
dragon.
terrifying as a kid. 'Cause just the like,
Oh yeah, the little.
Oh,
It has
yeah.
the cutest little like.
Did you do the soundbite for that?
yeah, they called me. I was 5.
We need an adorable dinosaur noise.
Gotcha.
The tropical story is kind of interesting because the movie actually suffered through a hurricane.
Filmed in Kauai, right?
Filmed in Kauai, Hawaii.
okay.
Yep. And
Jimmy's been there.
all of the exterior shots of the movie are there, and they were filming. They were about to leave. I think they were nearing the end. They're at the end of production there, but then a huge hurricane came, and they were like trapped, and they were feverishly trying to or quickly trying to pack up all the gear and props and stuff. And even Jeff Goldblum was helping them. And there's a story that Sam Neill tells where Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum went on the beach and they could see the storm coming and it looked like crazy. And Laura Dern's like, "Are we gonna die today?"
Oh my god.
And Sam Neill's like, "We might."
We might.
What are you saying we should do?
But they,
They all look at each other like,
but they ended up hunkering
time.
down and doing a threesome. No, and
Doing a 3.
doing a threesome.
doing a threesome.
I do people good. So yeah, they hunker down. The storm happens. It destroys the area. They couldn't get back to the States to finish filming because there was martial law was enacted. You know who saved the day?
Jeff Goldblum.
Kathleen Kennedy.
Wow.
You know, everyone's favorite scapegoat, Kathleen Kennedy, proving once again that she's actually a fucking great producer and people need to shut the fuck up and not be sexist.
If you look at her filmography, it's
Stellar.
a ridiculous pedigree.
Yeah.
I forget how she got. There was something she did that Steven Spielberg was like, "I need her on my team." She did something, and
She's
yeah.
a boss.
Oh yeah,
She's a baller.
She's killing it.
Everyone who's like, she ruined my childhood is like, she fucking made your childhood. All right.
Yeah.
No, she's a boss ass
Her
bitch.
pedigree is incredible, but she literally, she called up the pilot.
The hurricane?
From, no, she called up the pilot from
Stand down.
Raiders.
She said, "Mother Nature, don't you fucking dare!"
And Mother Nature, she backed down. But no, she called up the pilot from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark when he gets in a plane? He's like, "Shock!
Yeah.
There's a snake on the plane."
Sam Jackson popped out. What?
Motherfucker. So that dude apparently was a pilot that happened to be part of the program that was flying in supplies for the efforts of the first aid supplies and everything. And she knew he worked for that company. She called him up and was like, "Hey, when you fly back, can we ride with you?"
Take Laura Dern.
And he's like, "Sure."
Save Laura Dern. Save everyone else.
Kathleen Kennedy's resourcefulness got them a pilot that was able to get them off the island in an island that was destroyed by a hurricane.
Wow.
And production was able to keep on track because of that.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Right?
It pays to know
Unsung
people.
heroes.
It does. It does.
Pays to know
So
people.
really, Jurassic Park, thank the pilot from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Dino DNA.
Dino DNA.
What are your thoughts on Mr. Healy?
I love Mr. Healy.
Mr. Healy?
Whose voice is that?
Oh, let me look it up.
Dino DNA. What a
Why do
lame
I feel like I know that?
what a lame ride that would be though.
Yeah.
Like if you were at the park and that instead of dinosaurs you were watching like the I don't give a fuck. Take me to the dinosaurs, man.
Greg Burson is Mr.
Oh.
DNA.
My favorite person,
Dino
Greg
DNA.
Burson.
We took the code and filled in the holes.
Yeah, with frogs. It's gonna work out fine.
Yeah.
What
but
about the
we use the
lysine-
frogs that change sex naturally. That's not going to bite us in the ass when we have a park of all female dinosaurs.
But what
Literally.
about the lysine contingency? They could have just not given them. Is that just they got to wait it out and they'll die anyway?
Yeah.
Does that become a plot in the other movies at all? Because that's a huge thing. Somebody's got to be giving them lysine or they're going to die.
The lysine contingency. I think it's one of those things where life found a way and they just don't need lysine anymore.
I adapted. I don't need it. I'm
Yeah.
a
But they
dinosaur.
evolving real fucking quick.
That's not how evolution works. But yeah, but life do be finding a
I
way.
do be finding ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the book is interesting. It's very different. Like Madison said, it's much more violent. John Hammond's like an absolute prick.
Piece of shit.
He dies in the book.
Oh.
He gets. Oh,
I do remember
spoiler
that.
alert for the
Yeah.
novelization of Jurassic Park. Yeah, John Hammond gets eaten by compsognathuses,
Hate when that
the
happens.
little compies from the second movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Commies? There's commies in
There's
the
commies. Yeah, commies take in. They're like, we hate your capitalistic future of science. I think Muldoon lives.
Oh, I wish he did.
The lawyer,
hunter.
The lawyer lives. A lot of people live. The lawyer lives. Henry Wu gets eaten by raptors, so he wouldn't go on into the
B.D.
sequels.
Wong?
B.D. Wong's character gets eaten. I think
Does Sam Jackson's character die every time?
Yeah, he dies every time. Yep, he dies every time. Nedry dies the same way.
Sattler's so relieved too. Oh, he's
Sir
here.
Arnold. I love her realization because she turns around and she's like, she does this weird like, oh God, it's an
Yeah,
arm.
it's an arm.
And the raptors just put it in the closet.
Yeah.
How nice of them.
Try to hide
clean
the
up.
body.
Trick her.
They eat them. They're like, guys, get a mop. We gotta mop it up. What are we
We
gonna
got
do
a
with this
lure
arm?
in here.
My favorite thing I've never really thought about is when it's at the end of the movie, they're running from the raptors, and it's when they first go up into the ceiling of the lobby or whatever, or no, the ceiling of wherever they're at to I think the control room to get away from the raptors.
Yeah.
Grant goes up last, and then as the raptor's coming up, he kicks the ladder away because he's
I
scared
love
they're
this
going to
so
come
much.
up the ladder. I'm like, stop.
Well, but they
what's
are
funny-
opening doors and shit. I would too.
He's like, ah!
Which really funny because yes, he kicks down the ladder, but then they have that shot of the raptor look at it, and then the raptor looks up like, "Hey,
I was going to come up there.
I was gonna do that."
Like, I don't think that would even support a raptor. Like, there's a
well,
balance.
it's like how the fuck I get it. I mean, I would have kicked it down too, but like, how the fuck would they like grab it and like just
yeah, like,
shimmy its
Oh,
way up?
I would have loved to have seen that.
It's
They
like
could almost
gripping
jump
with the
high enough,
nails.
really.
With the one nail, it's just like hooking on the ladder to get up.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Silliness.
please. What are some other silly things that happen in the movie?
one of the things, if I was going to pick something to say I don't like that, it's so dumb, but it's the fact that both Sattler and Tim have the same issue where one of their legs gets injured for tension reasons, for plot reasons. And I don't know why, I don't even know how Timmy hurt his leg in that kitchen scene. It's just out of nowhere.
Oh, it's probably because he fell 50 feet off of a electric
But he's
fence.
fine.
He was fine to walk up and eat the buffet of food.
Yeah, he's fine
Oh,
until
I thought he was limping at that too.
maybe he twisted his ankle in the freezer on the ice or something. I mean,
There's
I
a
missed
lot
it.
of leg injury in this movie.
It's for obvious reasons. It's just scarier that they're slow.
Yeah.
But I don't think you even need to do that because the raptors are so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary enough trying to get away with both your legs. Like Timmy could have full sprinted, ran for the door with the raptor chasing him, and that would have been scary enough without him.
Limping along.
That's the only moment where I'm like, I don't know why you did the leg thing again. I just did the leg thing.
Ah,
Yeah.
come on.
It's a little silly.
It's like 80s slasher. She can't get away from Michael Myers because she's
But
twisted
also,
her ankle.
if you're
kinda
doing
vibe.
a shot of, people running away, like the limping of the leg is definitely more dramatic.
Yeah.
Fast
For
forward
sure.
to Jurassic World, full sprinting in high heels away from the T-Rex.
That's yeah. I remember watching that and being like, that's not how that would go.
No, she mothered that.
She would be tripping everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, she did it. I watched
She did
it.
do it, yeah.
Queen.
Queen.
I'm not Jessica Chastain. For Christ's sakes, I'm Ron Howard's fucking daughter. You heard that song?
No.
Really?
No.
So there's this whole thing where people confuse Bryce Dallas Howard for Jessica Chastain
Yeah.
all the time because
Yeah.
red hair. And she came on a late night talk show and they made a song. I am not Jessica Chastain. For Christ's sakes, I'm Ron Howard's fucking daughter. It's so funny. Really good. And
That's
she's
good.
a great actress, by the way.
I love
They're
Bryce.
both
And
great
a great
actresses.
director.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I wonder where she got that talent. Nepo baby.
Nepo baby.
Nepo babies.
I wanted to ask you guys, so the end of the movie, so I watched this movie technically this morning really early at like 2:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And I got
Was
to
you up all night?
I was up all night. I got to the point where the kids were in the kitchen, and for some reason I was like, oh, there's like a lot more of this movie left. And then I clicked in, I was like, oh, there's like 25 minutes left. So I think my only weird quirk with this movie is that it builds up so big at the end and then it just ends. Like, I don't know, there wasn't much of a come down from, the welcome center, and then they immediately get on the plane and then they leave and then the movie ends. That's kind of my only thing.
That's how to do it, baby. You get the fuck
Well,
out.
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Get in and get out.
I guess for me, I just was like, my initial thought expectation was, oh, there's going to be an additional, like,
The
something
real
else.
Jurassic Park were the friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
You wanted it to fade back in Peter Jackson style.
Yeah, you think it's the
I don't know.
ending.
I think
It's
I
the
just
threesome, and like it's Ian Malcolm and Grant and Sattler in a bed.
And that's chaos. Life found a way.
found a way. Yeah. I don't. It was just. It's not that big of a deal, but I remember being like, oh, that was just kind of jarring for me for it to just kind of like end like that. But
It is a little jarring to go from the big T-Rex triumphant, like, brah, when dinosaurs ruled the
Yeah,
world, brah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Like, it is a little bit of a little whiplash
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And they all died in a helicopter ride trying to escape.
And then the helicopter blew up.
Yeah. I do want to say, like, this movie, I think, is another example of, like, picture perfect pacing.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's 2 hours long. Feels like, for me at least, it feels like 30 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
it just
Well,
goes.
maybe that's what I was experiencing. So I was like, oh,
Yeah,
there's
it's the-
definitely more. And then there's only 20 minutes. I was like, oh,
It's the rewatchability of it. You
Yeah.
know, there's something hooking you every time. It's a damn fine picture. That's all I can say.
And I always forget about the opening sequence of them introducing the Velociraptor and kind of like the more almost the prompted of why there needs to be experts on the island because somebody does die and they need whatever. But that's a very good opening sequence, and I think why we allude to Steven Spielberg diving into horror a little bit because that scene is very disturbing.
Yeah.
And the close up of Shooter. Yeah.
I just want to say,
The David Koepp script, baby.
in that scene, you see all the Jurassic Park workers. They're wearing like the blue jumpsuits with the orange helmets. They're very serious. They've got the stun guns. They're ready to go.
Which
And
we
then-
never see them again.
Full stun.
Well, they're on the boat, baby. They're getting ready to celebrate having a job, which they will definitely have when they get back to that cruise.
Yeah.
But then you see Robert Muldoon, who's just like, I'm just doing an Outback guy. I'm not wearing short shorts. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I kind of wish everyone.
Thighs out, baby.
I wish they went one way or the other. Either Muldoon also wears the uniform, or everyone else has to
You
wear
went
short
full
shorts.
Jeff Goldblum for a second.
I did. I forgot what the word for uniform was, and my brain was rebooting.
The legs find a way.
Find a way.
Find a way.
That's right.
Yeah, and what a good the opening is just because the John Williams score has that almost like T-Rex stomp, like thump.
Yeah.
Thump.
And they needed to do that because they don't actually bring the dinosaurs in triumphantly for another 30 minutes or so, at least. And so, but they got that, they got you hooked. Like,
Yeah. Another thing that's in the book that is absent of this movie is another reason why there's a whole security issue is because dinosaurs are getting off of the island and making their way to Costa Rica. Like I remember one of the things I remember the most about the book, because it's probably the scariest, creepiest scene, is there's a Costa Rican family and they have I think it's a mother and she has like an infant child. And she puts the infant child to bed and the child's crying, but she walks away, but then the child stops crying. And then when they go back into the room, there's a Compsognathus like eating the child's face and it like runs out the window. And I remember like the visual on the page was like, ooh, that's terrifying. I wonder if that's in the movie. And it wasn't.
I can't imagine that making the movie.
No.
Right. Which is I think is why in The Lost World Jurassic Park, that movie opens up with a child getting attacked by compies, because that's like a big thing that happened
Easter
in the
eggy.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. Glad it wasn't in there.
I think that guy still got eaten by raptors too. Because the book's like, let's fucking rip people apart, everybody. Get in here.
Yeah.
Good.
As they should.
I think the T-Rex kicks Dr. Grant at one point in the book. Like,
Really?
yeah, there's a point
Get out of here.
There's a point where it's a raft scene where they somehow find a raft and they're going down the river and the T-Rex chases them in the river. And so the T-Rex is like halfway in the water. But at one point the T-Rex like kicks Dr. Grant. He has like a big like scratch or something because the T-Rex kicked him for the rest of the book.
said,
Yeah.
You at least have a flesh wound from a T-Rex kick.
Yeah.
No, T-Rex punch
Don't
wouldn't
be a
do anything.
Thacapea. Yeah, T-Rex punch. We'll get you.
T-Rex uppercut.
You can just put your hand on the T-Rex's head. And stop it.
Punch it in the nose like a shark.
That's my raptor noise.
That's a good
when
one.
they call to each other. It's kind of hard because it's all throat, you know?
I'm not
Madison,
even gonna
your
try.
turn.
Come on. It's hard to do.
Raptor.
Yeah, that's the Pokemon version.
Yep.
Well, I think we're wrapping up, right?
I think
we're out of time.
I think we're out of time, baby.
Thank you so much for choosing that movie. Thank you so much for listening to the show, for going back to the park with us. We tried to spare no expense on this episode. That's all the time we have for right now. My name is Kit,
My name's Madison.
And I'm Steve.
and we've got to go return some videotapes. Happy streaming.